Everybody, how you doing?
Hello.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is time for episode 5 of our famous, soon-to-be infamous, Kingmaker Legacies campaign. Written by our very own real evil genius, Jason.
Hello.
I'm super excited. We had a hell of a friggin' show last week. If you guys missed it, that sucks. But you can check out the VODs on the YouTube, or I think you're on the channel. I don't know how long they last for, but that's fine. For the sake of my own sanity, I'm going to go without background music today until I find new stuff. So I hope you all don't mind. Otherwise, where'd we leave off?
Well, let's see. Last time you guys met with Alon and Phila, kind of tried to figure out exactly how you were going to tackle the situation of, hey, there's goblins headed off the mountains, and we're pretty sure they took a hostage or somebody with them. And so you guys came down to the plan that if you all would stay and help the tower continue its watch like it's supposed to be doing, since one among you can actually use the view glass, that Alon and Phila and Draxus and Ellis from the tower went magically enhanced to go see if they could do something more quickly about the missing girl that the goblins apparently had taken. So they set off to do that. You guys helped keep watch, but mostly Emrys just looked for the, as she puts it, horse people, which she spotted. And then later that night, a group of 3 centaurs showed up outside of the watchtower. There you had an interaction with them. One of them, calling herself Windress, took you guys on a sort of journey through a dream in which you went to a city, a small city that was under siege at night, found that it was burning, mostly lots of barbarian type people running around, encountered a few of them, encountered a few larger lizards that breathed fire, and then happened to encounter a large humanoid with like a serpentine body, large muscular arms, carrying a halberd with his shoulders and head aflame. Managed to defeat all of those adversaries, at which point Windress said that that was the furthest in the dream that she herself or any of her people had ever gotten. When the next challenge, I guess, to rear its head was a much larger version of what you had just destroyed, Windress decided to cut the dream off, and you all awoke. And that's where we're picking up.
Oh, I don't know about you guys, but I feel really well rested.
You do not feel really well rested. So that it actually feels like you didn't sleep at all.
Well, that was fun.
That was interesting. See, everything worked out.
You have an interesting idea of worked out.
Well, come on now. We're all alive, right? And here we are having ourselves a good time. We all made it out with all the fingers and all the toes. And it looks like we helped save some of these here gnomon folk. I think this is a win-win all around.
It can add to your stories.
I don't know that we all have the same idea of a good time.
I cannot wait to tell this story. This is going to be great. at the next Stone Brew gathering. Let me tell you what. So, Emrys, I gotta ask. That
Yeah?
that huge some bitch. It seemed to know you pretty well, huh?
I have no idea. I guess I pissed somebody off.
You don't seriously remember, huh?
Can I do an insight check on if
It's a sense motive.
sense
I
motive?
need a
Sense motive?
sense motive.
Yep, you
As a
can.
Pathfinder.
Yeah, you can roll a sense motive check.
Think.
I mean, seems like she's telling the truth. Yeah.
You did mine
no,
twice.
I did yours twice.
Yep. But
Sheets are. Mine's over there.
Well,
yeah, I mean, it seems like she is telling the truth for what it seems that she knows.
mm-hmm. Well, all I know is that when somebody's that mad at me, I know that I need to keep one eye over my shoulder to make sure that I'm not going to run into them again, you know?
I mean, it'd be hard to miss a giant flaming man blob.
One would think. However, oof, you must have done something pretty fierce. If you're
I
gonna
don't know.
piss,
I tend to piss people off.
I mean, you were definitely some kind of animal in there. Let me tell you. Ho ho.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow, no, I'm telling you, there was not a single thing that stood up to you, my dear. Oof.
I need to get shit done.
I mean. Well, now, Windress. I hope at the end of all of this we have demonstrated our worthiness, and I sincerely hope that you and your people will finally have the safety in your dreams which you deserve.
She's like, I must converse briefly with my compatriots.
By all means.
She told you their names were.
Norik and Pilam.
Yeah.
It was like the second brother and the first brother of something.
Norik is the first and Pilam is the second. They are the sons of whatever. Windress is the first daughter.
Right.
I don't think Nivi Ramadazzle ever had to deal with getting set on fire. That's all I have to say.
But Nivi Rambo-Dazzle didn't have as many interesting adventures as we did. We're always adding.
That's not true.
We're adding.
That's not at all true.
We're adding to the legend. We're adding to the legend.
Wow.
I tell you about the time that she won a dragon sword out from underneath them?
No, but I suspect you're going to tell us.
You know what? I think that's better saved for another time. It's a long story.
So they have a conversation in what appears to be Centaur. It's as much as you can grasp is that it's a language that they speak that you do not. And after a few minutes' time, she turns and she comes back. She goes, while some of you may not appear to be as trustworthy as others, we believe you to be potentially very potent allies, and perhaps have some insight into these adversaries we appear to have at night. It's for that reason that we will extend our invitation for you to return with us to the stead and speak to our elders.
Very well.
Thank you.
Are we leaving now? How do we plan on getting there?
She's like, no, we will wait until the light comes. We will rest here. If you'd like to go back to your building and rest,
You're building.
More than welcome.
You look like you threw up a little in your mouth there. You all right?
We just do not do well amongst those sorts of creations.
All right. Well, we definitely left a fair share of stuff in there. So I guess we did have the wagon, the cart ready already. So I guess we can kind of go back in, and why don't you just let us know when it's time to leave, and we'll be all ready to run.
She's like, you know, we'll leave tomorrow after daylight. Go and rest. The dream is taxing when you're active.
As you wish. All right, with that, I'll pick myself up. I said, you don't have to tell me twice if I'm going to go and have a nap. Collect all my stuff up and head back to the tower.
Okay.
Come on, rest then. Let's go back.
You do not have to tell me twice. I am done with today.
Yep. Willick just stands up and starts lumbering back.
Yep. Same.
Okay. Let's head back to the tower. The door is left just lightly open so that you can get in and out. It appears that currently Vandrin is on watch and Bolton is asleep.
When I come up to the door, Sergeant Vandrin, if you don't mind my asking, how long were we out there for?
Been about 4 hours.
Wow. All right. You mind if we debrief in the morning?
Not at all.
Oh.
Like, are they still out there?
Yeah, they're getting some rest. We're gonna leave in the morning. We're gonna go and see their encampment. We earn their respect.
I haven't actually heard of anybody going to one of their encampments before.
As I said, we earned their respect.
Interesting. Well, I mean, Polton and I can just sleep on and off and take the watches as necessary, but if you could, make as much haste as you can, whatever your endeavorment is, I would appreciate it.
Of course, y'all been nothing but hospitable. The least we can do is repay that. We do believe that this, obviously, as you know, as rare occurrence as it is likely something that bears investigating.
He's like, just try to be back. I left yesterday. By the end of not tomorrow night, the following day. That's when we'll have to make a report if Phila and Alon and Eldris and Draxus aren't back yet. We'll have to make some sort of report.
All right. 2 days then.
Yep. So be back at the end of the second day.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Actually, what it says.
Night.
He just nods and goes back to using the view glass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everybody goes to sleep then.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. You are all actually pretty exhausted, so sleep comes very quickly. It is very deep for everybody. So, appears as though Willick is the first one to wake up. Most likely because he's hungry. So he immediately searches out Polton. Wake anybody up. Then, probably Emrys. So Emrys, you start getting shoved as you're sleeping.
Okay.
Willick standing above you. He has like a hunk of bread in one hand and a chunk of cheese in the other, and he's kind of just taking alternating bites and like, it's time to get up.
Okay.
So, he then proceeds to go over to Rowan and is just like, does the same thing. Get rudely shaken with a foot. Lumbering above you is Willick. Bread in one hand, cheese in the other. Like,
Morning.
it's time to get up.
Morning.
Dripping crumbs on you.
I'm coming. This is why I don't eat in bed.
Starts like coughing, like dry coughing, and then runs for the stairs.
Gotta chew your food, son. Just gathering my shit.
Okay. Yeah, you hear him like upstairs coughing, and you hear like the slam of like what sounds like some kind of empty drink container on the table and gasping.
Oh my god. Oh, I wonder if he left any for the rest of us.
Okay. Either of you gonna wake the other two
I
up?
will go and wake the other two up, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll gather myself and I'll knock nicely and kindly on each door.
You guys are sleeping
Morning.
in your bedrolls down in the ground level.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, you guys are all, that's where you were all sleeping.
Got it.
Ground level in
Yeah,
your bedrolls.
I'll just gently. Morning all, it's time to get ourselves ready.
Morning.
All right.
You guys have had a good 8 hours of rest, so you guys regain spells and all like that.
I would imagine that I would do my my
Your
prayers
morning
to
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Your morning ritual.
I'm probably doing it and finding crumbs.
Yep.
You
You,
did what?
you like see them on the floor. There's like a trail of them around the room. Bits of cheese.
I finish and find a broom to sweep up the crumbs.
Do we have a mouse problem?
Is
We're
Bolt in
going
there?
to.
Well, they might now.
They might soon. They have a Willick problem. All right. Well, we'll get ourselves fed. We'll get ourselves all packed up, and I guess we'll take a peek out the door.
There's enough food. Polton is on watch currently up at the viewfinder. Tells you that Vandrin is asleep. If anybody goes up to see him, Vandrin's sleeping.
All right. Well, I guess we'll open the gate and pull the cart out and try to meet our accompaniment.
Yep, they are back on the hill where you guys left them the night before. They're still there. They appear to just be kind of waiting for you to arrive.
All right.
Wynn just nods at you. It's like, oh. See, you brought an excuse for a horse. Good. Good.
I have heard nothing.
The journey a little bit faster.
Nothing but fantastic things about the horses that y'all raise. So maybe we can work something out when we get down to your encampment.
Perhaps. It'll take us about half a day's travel. Should get there just before the evening meal.
All right.
She takes and heads you guys in the general direction that you guys know you saw through the view glass that came.
Okay.
She leads you on. Norik and Kalam go out in front. So,
And Winder stays what, beside us or behind us?
just in front of you.
All right.
That's it. It's just in front.
All right. While we're on the travel, I'm going to first start a Winder. So I must ask, how is it that your tribe leader likes to be addressed?
They just use the the term elder. We call them elder.
All right. I'd hate to be impolite and make a bad impression.
Is Windress
She says, well, this is the first time in more than 500 moons that we have allowed outsiders into our stead.
That is many moons. If you don't mind my asking, what was the occasion the last time you let some strangers into your stead?
Before my time,
Mayhap the Elder know?
perhaps. She goes on to say, although that we deal with the denizens of the Summerlands a few seasons a year, typically the exchange is brief. We tell them what our demands are. They comply with what we want, and in exchange they get the horses and they go on their way and we go on ours. Last night and today is the most we have talked to any feat than in the last 12 moons combined.
Well,
Wow.
y'all must have been in some pretty dire straits then, huh?
She's like, well, this is unlike anything we have dealt with before. So, for the most part, unless you guys talk to her, the journey back is relatively quiet. She doesn't say too much. Norik and Palam are very quiet when they do come close by, and it becomes apparent that they probably do not speak common.
All right. I'm gonna kind of sit down across from Emrys. Just kind of like reach out and crack my fingers a little bit, stretching, looking at her hands, cracking my knuckles, smiling. That's it.
What's up, Rowan?
Nothing. Just enjoying the ride,
Okay.
It's like, how can you enjoy this? It's so bumpy. My butt hurts.
Yeah.
It is rather bumpy. You guys are going overland in a cart.
Yeah.
It's not very comfortable.
Yeah. Truthfully, I just like the fresh air and the open world traveling. That's all. I'm kind of partial to it.
Where have you traveled?
Oh, where haven't I traveled? Let me tell you, I have. Let me tell you the time. I was wandering down the road, literally on the way to nowhere, as I'm apt to do. I find that as a habit, what I like to do is just start walking, and wherever it is that I end up, I feel like that's where I'm supposed to be. And it's just always been that way. It's like I almost never get lost. Even when I was like wandering around, I used to go out for days and days from my village when I was just a youngin' and just kind of explore and just kind of wander. I was a bit of a wanderer. And, I just always was able to find my way home. It was the damnedest thing, I tell you. But while I spent so much time out there, I came to really appreciate the fresh air and just the sense of adventure of it all. So I just kind of come by it honestly, I guess. I've been everywhere. That's really what it comes down to. I don't really. There's not a lot of places I stop for names. It's really just what have I seen? And I've seen a lot. Heard a lot of stories. Met a lot of people. Seen some pretty strange things. Seen some pretty normal things.
What was the strangest thing you've ever seen?
The strangest thing I ever seen. I saw I saw a hill come to life as if it were the shell of a turtle. That was the strangest thing I'd ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. It just kind of came to life and just kind of moved.
Was there a turtle?
I mean, it was the closest thing I could describe to it was like a turtle with a big land mass of a back. It was pretty. It was something. Thankfully, that was not a hill I chose to walk across, but I was close enough, and it was really fascinating. Definitely the strangest thing I think I've ever seen. But that said, I have seen some people do some pretty strange things.
Like what?
Well, one time I was I spent a lot of time wandering around with a pack of bards after I left my village, you see, and one time, you see, I had a bit of a mentor, as it were, an older gentleman that kind of taught me a little bit about the world, as it were, and made sure I kept my nose mostly clean and out of trouble, and bailed me out when I went too far. And so Chandler was his name, and so Chandler was out, just as we were wandering around, entertaining. They were telling all sorts of stories around a fire, and I watched. It was the strangest thing, but there was this group of kids that was just, they were all fighting and scrapping with themselves, all, over some food and stuff. And it was a really run down part of town, just really beat up. And Chandler just, kind of started whistling a tune, And I'd never heard him whistle the tune before, but it was just kind of like, it was just really catchy like. And all of a sudden, it was like the whole crowd of kids just kind of like stopped. And they started to pay attention. And then the damnedest thing, the kids, who had also obviously never heard this tune before, started whistling right along with him. It was the damnedest thing. Anyways, that Chandler, he was capable of some pretty outstanding stuff. I've seen some strange things.
Where is he now?
Sadly, Chandler drew his last breath last year.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He was a gift of man, and the world is worse off without him in it. But I do everything that I can to try to pick up his legacy, and he told me to kind of follow my hunches and bear the consequences, and told me feet are for walking, So I just kind of took it to heart, and I just kind of tried to live the way he taught me to live.
I think he would like that. He'd be happy to know that.
I think so too.
Isn't this fun?
I'm hungry.
We're gonna be there soon, Willie. Don't worry. Although I think we have some rations back here in the wagon. Rumble around and toss him a loaf of bread or an apple or something.
She will handedly eat. Okay, and when she's... What do centaurs eat?
People that ask too many questions. I'm just kidding. I don't know what they eat. We're going to find out, though, because we're going at evening time when they're going to have dinner. So let's find out.
Yeah. All right. Well, if nobody has anything else they want to do, then we will say that the 4 hours, for the most part, goes by relatively easily, other than the sort of bumpy, hilly ride in the cart that's meant for roads. But you guys do manage to get it there, mostly because Windrus is kind of guiding the horse. You guys don't notice it until you're like an hour in that the horse is actually just following her. And that's part of the reason why she's as close as she is.
Yeah, at some point, we turn around and Willick's like, "I'm hungry." Who's driving the car?
And it's just nobody. Mm-hmm. Nope, the horse is just following Windrus. And she's kind of every once in a while she'll turn or move or whatever, and you can tell that she's picking her way through so that the horse doesn't step on a rock or anything. Not supposed to be type of thing.
All right.
But eventually, you guys do get to where you come up on a hill, and you can see over the top of the next hill, and you see just behind it is where this camp is.
Wow. Ooh.
Ah.
So you guys are approaching from this direction. So it's more like this. So, yeah, you guys approach. There appears to be 20 to 30 total centaurs once you include the 3 that are traveling with at this camp. Anywhere from 10 to 15 horses in the pen or apparent training area that they have. Looks like there's probably about 4 or 5 centaurs in the course of working on the training, and the rest are kind of milling about doing what appears to be general camp type duties, cooking, mostly cooking right now, as they're indeed beginning to prepare the sort of nighttime meal. And as you guys come across the hill and start approaching, the ones that are closer to the side of the camp that you're approaching on kind of just stop and look over. Just kind of stare as you guys approach.
Don't make eye contact.
Guys, see Willick go.
Hi.
Just kind of nod without directly challenging anyone.
So, when just kind of stops, as you guys get to the edge of the camp, the very edge, she stops, and so the horse stops with the cart alongside it. And she turns to you and she says, we will wait here. Nork and Blom will go ahead. I'm sure they already know that we've arrived. We'll figure out exactly where they will want to meet, talk. So you guys just get to stand around and wait a little bit. So you can see from where you are, you guys are very close to kind of what appears to be the general living area. Really, it's just 4 very large campfires that appear to be like these central hubs for where they're doing everything. Whether it be cooking, there are some people that appear to be like cleaning what appears to mostly be like leather type garments and stuff. Some armor, some that appear to be more like cloaks and straps and things like that. They're kind of just cleaning all of that. A lot of people are involved with food preparing process. They have over each fire is a large roasting spit on which there is what appears to be a boar on each one, kind of getting to roast.
Boar.
Mm.
And there's a lot of them that appear to be cutting up what looks like some sort of like large potato like vegetable, some sort of root vegetable that they appear to be cutting up. There's a lot of them doing that. You do see a couple what appear to be, you would akin them to children essentially around. One thing that you do notice is that the children do not appear to be attached to any specific person. They're kind of just going around, going from centaur to centaur maybe. So one of the older ones appears to be actually engaged with what's going on, while the other ones are just kind of following. So you can still see the other 2 areas. Number 1, of course, looks to be a very large corral. It's a loose wooden structure, not nearly as complete as what it looks like on the map. It's more like 2 pieces of wood slatted into what appears to be posts every so often. And it looks like it's probably set up to be taken back down at some point in time. The gate there is just 2 pieces of rope draped across to make it so that the horses inside can't just leave.
Hmm.
And there is a centaur that's kind of just stationed out just outside the gate. And then alongside of one of those, you see what appear to be like large wooden skids with rope on them. And then in area number 2, looks like a large training area. There are 2 runs that are comprised of a similar wooden construction to the pen. You guys can actually watch as they're still kind of doing some handling stuff with the horses. A centaur handler rides down one side of the run, while on the opposite side, a horse will run. As to exactly what they're doing with them and how, you can't. It's too far away to really make that out. And then you have the large open area, which at the center of is actually a tall, like 10-foot tall wooden post that at the top of they tie a very long rope that they then tie down to where onto the horse's neck, so that it can't just run away.
Mm-hmm.
And this area appears to be where they, instead of just running back and forth, they are. It looks like they're practicing like making the horse turn, stop, that kind of thing.
All right.
And that appears to, for the most part, be what's going on.
All right.
You guys watch kind of Nork and Palam go to each individual fire and kind of talk a little bit with these centaurs there and move on. Until you do see that eventually the fire closest to you, for the most part, kind of clears out of centaur. They all kind of move to the other fires. And then there's a few centaur that stay, Nork and Palam among them. And then coming from the other fires over, there are 3 other centaurs that come and sit at this one. So there's Nork, Palam, another younger centaur who obviously you've never met, and then 4 centaur that, since you're now close, you can tell are older than the others.
4 older centaurs.
Yep.
Okay.
There appears to be 4. So Windress looks and is like, well, it appears they wish to speak to you before the meal.
All right.
So,
Sorry, Willick.
still kind of like looking down with his hands, kind of shading his eyes. Fine. Yeah. So Windress starts leading you forwards on the cart. So just a brief period, just basically down to the bottom of the hill, and then stops and kind of motions for you guys to get out of the cart.
Get out of the cart.
She's like, for your sake, although I have seen that you're capable, I would not draw any weapons.
Yep.
It will be seen as a hostile action and be dealt with accordingly. And while, yes, you have weapons, there are many of us, in trampling typically fells your kind rather swiftly.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tip.
Thanks.
Okay. So she turns and she leads you to the camp. So as you approach, there are 4 older centaur. There is an old terry-coated, and she looks probably like she is the oldest of the centaurs. Terry-coated, shrewd brown eyes, and like a very hook-shaped nose. And there's a male that is slighter of stature than all the other centaurs you have seen. Also appears to probably be the youngest of these elders. Black coat, black hair, soft brown eyes. Next to him, and kind of a complete counter to him, is a massive centaur with a white coat, barrel-chested, to the point where it's actually stretching the leather armor that he appears to wear, bald with a gray mustache. And then the last one appears to be almost the spitting image of Windress, except her coat appears to has less sheen to its black, and her once black hair is now shocked mostly gray. So Windress leads you to them, turns to you, says, "Outsiders, welcome to the Noman's Stead. These four are our tribe's elders." She goes and she motions to each. This is Peovala. That's the old Terry Crone. Tissalep, the sort of smaller centaur. Drollin, a very large centaur. Zamalti, who, when she motions to, she kind of smiles a little bit, and then the smile immediately.
Well met to you all, and we thank you very much for your gracious hospitality in inviting us here.
Yes. Thank you.
Is Piovala who speaks first. She's like, "It is our understanding that you have helped progress in the nightmare that plagues us."
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. So, none of you, well, perhaps one. Most of you do not appear to be from. What do they? She looks over. She says something in Centaur to Windrus, who then says Summerlands. Most of you do not appear to be from the Summerlands.
Nope.
Correct.
Yeah, Tahani here is a native of the Summerlands, but no, the rest of us have only come here fairly recently.
She's been showing us the ropes.
Even more interesting. She goes, "Well, please join us at our fire. Food is being prepared and will be served shortly.
Thank you.
I wish to know a little bit more about each of you."
Piavala, if I may, Windrus was kind enough to let us know that it has been 500 moons or more since our kind has been seen around your parts. Is that right?
That is correct.
Don't suppose any of y'all recall what it was that transpired the last time you had our ilk around your fires.
I believe the last time was in preparation for retaliation against the horde that had entered into our lands.
The horde of what?
Oh, feet savages from across the mountains.
Hmm.
Wow.
These are the same ones that they were watching for.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah. Denizens of the Summerlands fear another assault.
Do you feel that there will be another assault?
Every so often, we will find a small band of them wandering, but they do not appear to be organized in any form, unlike last time.
Hmm.
All right.
What was special about last time?
Something had them united.
Something or someone?
Both?
Hmm.
Don't understand the difference.
All right.
While it does seem that she does speak common, it does appear that there are words for her that she may not understand, or when she's talking that it's hard for her to find like fluencies for things,
Mm-hmm.
the languages.
All right.
But
So-
what of your problems or your concerns?
Oh. Our concerns are simple. About 6 months ago, we call them moons, you call them months. 6 months ago, we started having this shared nightmare. Star Tribe. We have it every night that the moon is not full.
Even the young ones?
Yes. You can see that when you ask that, she appears to be very sad and concerned. She says yes.
We understand your concern after seeing what we saw last night. We wouldn't wish that on any young one at all. You said it's happening every non-full moon?
Correct.
What happens on the eve of the full moon?
Well, when the moon is at its fullest, it appears that Mother Moon is capable of protecting us for those few nights.
I understand.
So, she looks around. Some of you appear to have visited the dreamscape before, whereas last night for most of you was the first time. So, the two of you that have been there before, I would like to know when and how. So, she looks over at Emrys. And it's just like, from my understanding, first daughter Windress believes that you have actually had the same nightmare that we have had
Oh yeah.
before.
Yes. Elder lady.
And how long ago was that?
How many days is it?
It's been like a couple weeks, maybe.
Okay, like a couple weeks ago. Right when I arrived in the town. I don't even remember the town's name, honestly.
The town's name is
New
New
Varnhold.
Varnhold.
New Varnhold. That place. They had good food.
Intriguing. Can you tell me what happened at New Varnhold before the dream?
Like in my dream?
Before the dream.
I
Trying-
arrived in New Varnhold and I shopped around the shops and then I got a room and then I went to sleep.
Interesting. Normally, people just don't enter the dreamscape. They do something to get there,
Oh well,
whether knowing or unknowing.
I didn't really do anything.
Perhaps if we can determine what it was that caused you to go there in the first place, maybe we can use that to our advantage.
Well, before I got a room, I went to this tavern and they told a story. This lady told a story about, I guess, these fire beings and these barbarians and stuff destroying old Varnhold like a while ago.
She kind of nods.
And then I went back to the inn and went to sleep.
Interesting. So you were told the story and then had a dream.
Yeah.
Still shouldn't trigger it, but okay. She looks over at Rowan. So, also visited the Dreamlands before. I believe I've already been made aware of how, or should I say what happened. Have you visited the Dreamlands at any other time?
It's tough to say, really. You know, my dreams have always been a funny thing, I guess. Chandler always taught me about that the mother's domain is the dreamlands, and dreams are very important. So I've always had different dreams than most other people, I guess one might say. But I can tell you this was the first time that I had ever woken up in a place that was different from the one I went to sleep in. Especially after being sober the night before.
See, her eyebrow definitely raises. She's like, so you're saying that in your dream, traveled?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's what brought me here, in fact. And I would be, I believe I would be remiss if I were to say that I don't think it was by accident. In fact, and some of y'all might find this really hard to swallow, it didn't all really start making sense to myself until recently, but I think your Mother Moon sent me here to save you and your people from your dreams.
It is very prideful of you.
Oh, I didn't expect I'd do it alone, but I believe she wanted me to come here and find y'all and help y'all. So here we are. I mean, have you ever seen me shoot a bow? I mean, I couldn't do it alone.
Still can't, but okay. So just at the end of you saying that is a younger, not child, but a younger centaur kind of approaches the camp from one of the other camps. Says something to Norik, and goes back. Norik approaches, says something. Piovola nods and says, "It appears that food is ready. Brought over. So, we'll eat and then we will continue our discussion as I have some more questions. I believe that Tisselip has questions of his own.
Willick, my brother, it is time to eat that boar. I know you've been smelling it since the second we pulled up. It is absolutely okay to eat this boar.
All of it?
Be polite.
So, okay. Drolan himself actually steps forward and pulls a very large knife out of a scabbard. Begins carving the boar. Meanwhile, from the other sort of campfires, some centaurs carrying very large platters of start arriving. Kind of distributed to you via a bowl or whatever platter they have kind of available. You get these look to be sort of potato-like vegetables, kind of cut in half, cooked, some herbs and stuff on them on top. A variety of what looks to be vegetables. Some carrots and stuff, some things like that. Carrots, corn, all kind of, again, similarly, just kind of roasted on the fire. And then, of course, Drolan will cut off strips of the boar and kind of lay some on each plate. He eyes Willick a little bit and then places a second piece on Willick's plate.
Thank you.
So you guys begin to eat. They provide everybody with a horn of water.
This is delicious.
Yeah, I imagine those.
Actually, the food is not like blow your mind amazing, but it's an actual home cooked meal, so it's pretty good. It's better than eating travel rations and stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's actually moisture in the meat.
It's outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to tell Paulson all about this.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll appreciate that we got invited out to a nice boar dinner, and he's got to get stuck there looking at us from his perch up there through the looking glass. This one's for you, buddy.
Yep. So you guys eat. So as you're eating, Tissalip actually begins to talk to you. And he is the sort of the youngest of the elders, and also a slightly smaller stature than the rest of the centaur. So it's like, my questions are more of, you believe that you are here to help us. How do you plan on doing so?
Oh, I haven't worked that part out yet.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even sure I understand what exactly the issue is.
Yeah.
Like, clearly you're beset by some kind of communal nightmare, but what is that? Do you know what that means? Do you know what it comes from?
I think step
Has anything
one
like this
is
happened before?
right. Step one is figuring out what's going on. I think before we can figure out how to solve the problem. I agree.
So he kind of smiles now and nods a bit. Good. You're not as dim-witted as some feet that we have met.
There's some pretty wise folk here amongst us. I might suggest.
Give us a chance. We might surprise you
That's right.
in one way or another.
Some of us are very wise.
Yes.
And others are very strong.
So, was it not? Not coincidence, I should say, that I believe that you are here. I believe that you are here for a reason. So you notice that he has like a bag with him as opposed to anybody else. He kind of has like a carrying strapped to him satchel type thing, oddly square shaped. And then when he opens it up and reaches in, and he pulls out something that you would not expect him to pull out, and he pulls out a very large leather-bound book.
Hmm.
Turns like what appears to be some sort of locking mechanism on it. It clicks, and then he opens it. He goes, "This book has been with us as far back as we can remember. It passes down through the elders to care for. Well, I happen to be its caretaker. But interesting enough, this book, which we very often do not let. I think you are maybe the only second or third group of feet to have ever actually seen it,
Hmm.
even from this distance. This tells all of our history, and even has some, I guess if you'd call them prophecies. We believe they are more just possibilities. But flips to a page. He kind of turns it around, holds it out. And there on the page is what appears to be a large building on, like, it's obviously art. Done relatively well. Can't really tell what the pigmentation or anything was used to create it, but it's a very nice piece of artwork. And it spans both pages. It's like a mural. And in the art, you can see where there's a couple burning buildings on the edges. And then towards the one side of on one page, there appears to be a very large reptilian-bodied creature, with humanoid arms and a head, carrying a halberd with flames and fire on him. Then down in front of him appears to be like a group. Now, each individual person is very hard, from the distance that the artwork is done, it's hard to pick out distinguishing features on people. However, there are some that are very easy to distinguish things on, particularly weapons and stuff that are being wielded. For instance, there's one figure in particular that obviously is not wielding any weapons at all. There's another figure who is wielding a massive hammer. Sure. There's another figure with a bow off to one side. There's another that has a weapon on his waist but is not wielding it. And then there's another that is carrying a hammer. And that's where most of you, Willick, with the exception, kind of being like, yeah, that could definitely be us.
The book has pictures.
Does any of that
You
look
said that-
familiar at all to you, Willick? Who else do you know that, might wield a really big hammer?
I'm gonna scratch my head and look over at Emrys and be like, "Her?"
Good. And who do you know that fights with no weapons at all?
Babies?
All right. All right. Maybe it's babies. And who have you met recently that tries really hard to shoot a bow?
Don't you try to do that?
I do. Good. Very good. Very good. And don't you have a smaller hammer?
So this is like that dream thing. This is like you guys.
Yeah. And you see that guy right there with the smaller hammer? And I'm going to point, but still keep my distance so as not to look like I'm trying to touch that book at all. You see that guy right there with the hammer in his hand? The smaller hammer? Who do you think?
Whereas I'm going to actually reach for the book to try to.
I will try really hard to grab him as quickly as possible, even if it is a failing effort to hold him back. I will make every effort to prevent him from moving forward.
You don't have to worry about it because it's between you and then Tisselip kind of just being like no and pulling the book back.
All right.
You guys managed to keep it out of Willick's grasp.
No, that's
It's
good.
grease stained, like grease covered fingers.
That's older than all of us put together, Willick. It does not need to eat
Oh.
your dinner.
It's a magic book.
Who
It
knows?
could be.
Well, Tisselip's just like, well, yes, obviously.
Would that be obvious to any of us?
No, none of you actually. It would not be obvious.
Cool.
Now you said this is all
We're
on
making good impressions.
one side of the page.
No, so this
No,
is
this
two
is
pages
both
together.
sides.
Two
Yeah,
pages. Okay.
So one side just has kind of the flaming monster, and
Okay.
the other page is more focused on you guys.
Okay.
So how old is this drawing? If you don't mind my asking.
Good question.
At least, I would say, over 100 years.
That's a lot.
Wow.
Is it of a historical event? Is there any kind of context for this?
No, this is one of the possibilities.
Fake news.
somebody had old seer was once part of our tribe.
Mother Moon granted her that vision, didn't she?
It's over at you. Maybe. But it's interesting. He turns the couple pages and it's just
I'm gonna
so.
carry on. Yep.
Then opens it to a specific page again, stops, turns the book around, and is just like, does this look familiar to anyone? Which is of course. So on one page, the other page is a bunch of writing and stuff that you just don't understand. On the other page, though, is another drawing. This one is of a sword. It is unlike the others. It is just black and white. It appears to be drawn actually in charcoal, although it was drawn a long time ago, so the charcoal stuff is not really rubbing off anymore. It's a charcoal drawing. Appears like it's probably a two-handed sword, very long. But what is the most interesting part of the sword is that its blade is completely black colored. But the black color is not done with charcoal. It looks like the black color is actually done with paint. So like some sort of paint, so that it's kind of shiny. And that along its blade, there appear to be points of white. Look like they probably mimic stars.
I have never seen that before in my life or in my dreams.
Mm-mm.
Well,
Do I recognize it?
Is there any kind of knowledge we should be doing?
okay. So anybody with knowledge planes or knowledge history?
Nope.
Knowledge planes. 15. You
Would
can
you have put any
tell-
points into knowledge?
Rowan, you know through knowledge planes, you can tell that the stars that are along the blade of this weapon do not match any sort of constellations or anything that you know of for this plane, for the material plane, for Galarian.
Okay. Okay.
He goes, had to check. It was upon seeing this blade that our nightmares began.
Wait, you saw that blade in real life?
Yes.
Where?
So we were approached by someone carrying it.
Hmm.
That
What?
sword is not from around here.
What did the individual look like wielding the blade?
So, this individual appeared to be a normal human feat. You know, maybe slightly paler skin than your typical denizen here in the Summerlands. He definitely did not appear to be from the Summerlands, which is why we were apprehensive about even interacting with this individual at first, especially since he managed to sneak up on us.
Hmm.
However, he wished to simply barter for a horse, and we, as we do now, had some were in the process of training. And so we entertained his idea of maybe purchasing a horse, depending on what he had to trade at the time. And unfortunately, we just could not come to a mutual agreement. He left. But it was that night that we started having the nightmare.
So you think maybe he's the one that might have put a curse on you?
That I'm just stating that it wasn't until he arrived or we had interaction with him or
Hmm.
that we saw this blade that he carried that began having the curse, or we began having the nightmare.
Does your book
Soon
say
after-
anything about this sword?
No, this is just a picture. All that's in here of the sword is just a depiction. This on this page has nothing to do with this. Fortunately, things in the book are not in order.
Hmm.
As they happen, we remove pages and rebind them where we believe they belong. So you can see that there's actually a cloth strip hanging out of the book for further ahead where he was, where you guys are, the section that he's kind of opening up pages into. So there's like a marker in the book.
Hmm.
And it looks like it's probably only a third of the way in. So it's like, it took me some time after we figured out that the nightmare wasn't just going to end. It wasn't something. Mother Moon wasn't just mad at us for some reason. Transgress her in some fashion.
Sounds like whoever this individual was might have not taken too kindly to being spurned for his terms. They might have decided to take it out on you. That ain't right.
Possibly.
Well, if that's true, it's a pretty big leap.
I'm
Did they seem
saying that
upset at your interaction?
No, and it made me believe that the interaction wasn't. It made some of us, and he looks over at the other elders and then looks back at you, believe that his reasoning for approaching us for this trade, that the trade itself was just
A ruse.
correct to be amongst us.
Do we know what direction they went in?
Yes. He approached us from the south. That is the direction that he left. But again, that is the only thing that happened that before we started having this nightmare and then looking through the book. This is the one piece that I found since then that sort of leads any sort of connection to anything.
Has anyone within your tribe here, have they got the skills to reproduce maybe a likeness of the man on a paper?
Looks kind of over at Samalti, and perhaps not something we thought to try before, as we've all seen him. So something we can definitely.
Sadly, we have not. And if we're gonna help, then we're gonna need to find him.
Yes, we will try to have that done. So, Emrys. So that second page, the random sort of language and writing.
Yeah.
There's one piece of it that you can actually read.
Oh, cool.
You don't know how you know it, but you know it. And for that, we're gonna jump channel.
Whoa, that's so exciting! All right.
All right, hold on.
I'm gonna take my headset. You make sure you bring me with you, and you just wave at me when it's time to come back on.
Okay. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right, so Scott has his headset off, so he can't actually hear what's going on.
Okay.
So when we go. This is for the viewers, right? So the viewers will be able to see everything, but nobody else will know what's going on.
Okay.
All right. So there is a piece of text that you can read, specifically because you know it is your name.
What?
Yes,
Like my name, Emrys?
like your name, Emrys.
Okay.
At least you believe it to be Emrys. Like you just know it's your name. That it's your name written there.
Okay.
And that the section around it appears to be some kind of warning.
All right, but I don't know what it says.
You know that it's a warning against you. Like it's meant to warn somebody against you.
Oh, okay. So it's not a warning to me. It's
No,
literally
it's
like, don't trust this bitch. Okay. Okay, then I'm not gonna tell them what that says.
Why I was like, we need to move channels. Yeah. The other bit is where he says that this doesn't have any. You do know that the centaur said that it has nothing to do with the sword. That is not true.
Okay.
As you can this is as their conversation is going on. I'm
just looking at it.
You're just focused on this page because as soon as you could tell that your name is there, you're just like, what the f- is this? And you just keep staring at it, and more things begin to make sense.
Okay.
All right, so there's a section that's like a warning about you.
Okay.
And then there's another section that actually references this weapon.
Okay.
And
so he thinks that they don't relate to each other, but they actually do.
But they do, correct.
Okay.
That though, at least maybe not necessarily the section of you, but there is a section on this page about that sword.
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
the sword's name is Shadow Star.
Shadow Star. Okay.
And then there below that is another line where it's another warning, but this warning appears to be of Scott. Are you actually listening, or do you have?
Now I'm listening.
Okay, well you can take your headset off.
Oh, sorry.
No,
You
we're not.
waved. I saw you wave, so I came back.
No. I'll move us back to the channel when we're good.
No, I'm not watching that. I'm watching like the camera from far away.
Oh,
Because if I sit too close, like I can't mute the headset because then the stream won't hear it. So I need to just like take these off. You just like wave, and I'll come back.
Okay, I got it.
Okay,
gotcha.
I'm gonna go mute.
Okay. All right. So I mean, it's only gonna be 2 seconds more. Yeah. So there's a warning that it's like, the end will be brought on by the convergence of shadow and flame.
Okay, let me write this down.
Okay.
The end will be brought on.
Yep. The end will be brought on by the convergence. Yep. By the convergence of shadow and flame.
That's not ominous at all.
No, it's totally fine. I mean, it's like prophecy stuff. This is normal for you, right?
That's fake news. It's shit.
Okay. Those are the only parts that you get before he kind of pulls the book away after they're done talking. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Yep. That's it.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and go back up to the other channel.
Okay.
Did we die?
All right, all back.
No, you're not dead.
Nobody's dead.
Okay.
Nobody's
Yay,
dead.
no new character
Yeah.
sheets.
Yes.
Nobody's
I
dead.
figured out how to work this one.
Okay. So, he looks over at Samalti, and it's just like, do you think you have it in you to attempt to look and create the visage? So, Samalti, who's the one who looks like Windress, sighs, considers for a moment, and nods. Yes, we will attempt to have his countenance drawn up for you.
Yeah, this is all well and good, but I guess I'm not sure I understand what exactly it is you're asking us to do.
I'm just pointing. Well, as you said, we need to start at the beginning and kind of figuring out what is causing everything, and this is what I believe to be causing, or well, whom I believe maybe to be causing everything.
I think we need to find this individual and ask them a few pointed questions. Just go from there. That's all. I'm not suggesting we commit to eliminating somebody like that necessarily without finding out what was going on first, I guess.
Do you mind if we take a second to talk amongst ourselves?
Sure. I mean, you guys would like to just
I
go ahead.
think that might be a good idea.
It's fine. It's fine.
Excuse us a moment.
Yep. So they kind of like nod and they all move over a campfire.
It's fine.
What?
Like you guys, the only person that stays behind, that is the only two that remain are Norik and Pelham. Like Pelham, the two that you guys are.
They
you
don't.
guys know,
They don't speak.
They don't
common
speak
anyway.
common. They don't speak common. They're kind of just watching. And they're not close. They're just kind of in between the two camps. They're just kind of watching and keeping an eye on you.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fine. We're just adding to the new adventure. You can write ballads to it.
I don't do that.
Raspin,
I am a servant of Nivi Rambodazzle, not a bard.
correct.
You could still have better stories to talk about the
don't-
fire while playing.
Raspin, I am not by any stretch of the imagination volunteering you for anything. This is something that I believe I know I need to be a part of. And if this is something simple as let's take this guy's likeness, and if we happen upon our travels to end up finding this individual, then I'm sure I will have a few pointed words for him. But we have other things as well that we do need to take care of. We do need to be back for the report. Hopefully Sergeant Filler will come back. We need to return to the tower by tomorrow evening, so we can be polite, enjoy the hospitality, get all the information we can now, and then we'll get ourselves back to the tower, and then figure out what our next move is from there. This is an awe-inspiring opportunity. Simply being here is something special. People haven't seen this place, talked to these people in 500 moons. That's a long time.
These people have been wronged, and we're just trying to make it right. Their children shouldn't have to suffer this nightmare. Night in and night out.
While it's very unfortunate for them, maybe it's just that I'm not used to this whole honest living kind of thing. But I don't think wandering into random centaur villages and taking on strange dream quests is typically part of that, especially for unspecified compensation.
Sometimes we just need to go with the roll of the dice.
This isn't the roll of the dice. You're volunteering me.
Again, like I said,
You're gonna be as white as a sheet with how much bleaching it's gonna happen to you.
listen.
Sometimes you roll the dice, and sometimes other people roll the dice. And right now, other people are rolling the dice, and we're just playing our hands.
I think you're just saying gambling words and hoping I don't ask questions. That's what I think.
You may not be entirely wrong with that assessment. Like I said, I'm not suggesting that this is something you need to do. I do need to do this.
I am not opposed to hearing them out.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we are not collectively volunteering for something quite so open-ended.
I understand your trepidation. I do. There was a time when I thought there's nothing more than whatever the next step brings me to. But lately there's been some things, one might almost say fated coincidence that has kind of opened my eyes to another way of seeing things. You can't dispute the fact that oftentimes fate and coincidence are sometimes two sides of that same coin. I don't think you're committing to anything tonight. So don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. And if it's something, like I said, I got to do this. If this is something that I'm taking responsibility one way or the other. But I'll do that. And if y'all want to help me at your leisure, that's great. But I am going to volunteer for accountability for this. So I don't know if that makes you easier or uneasier, but it is what it is.
All I know is it's generally not a good idea to go all in before you even know the stakes.
How come he gets to use gambling words? How come I don't get to use gambling words?
Because mine made sense.
Perhaps you
That
should
makes
not.
sense.
Perhaps.
He knows when to hold them and when to fold them.
Yeah.
We've still got lessons for you to learn.
Well, I'll learn.
I can't imagine what a gaming session would have looked like inside that monastery, given the way that you are throwing these things around. I can't even imagine.
We didn't really play games.
I am shocked. I am completely shocked. Look at this face. It is completely shocked.
Is he shocked?
Yes.
We played games, but they were very violent.
I believe.
I believe that.
Sense motive. No, I'm just kidding. Does that help?
Should we?
I think you've settled my nerves about as much as we're going to. As long as we are just trying to collect information and not committing to anything, I think I'm okay for now.
Yeah.
Is there like a flask of wine nearby?
All they served us is water.
If anyone has any.
There's no wine or alcohol you brought.
No, I don't have any on me, or else I'd offer. Like, here, settle your nerves elsewhere.
All right. I'll motion for the elders to return.
So, yeah, Noric sees your motion and back to them. So, your discourse productive? Is Lip talking again?
I believe so. Yes.
Cool.
I will.
You guys do notice that Samalti has not returned.
Just drawing. I will help you get to the bottom of this and try to understand what happened, and that I will absolutely do. And we should determine some way for us to get back in touch, should that occur.
It's like, might be a little bit difficult.
Do you have any pigeon?
No.
Very specific question.
Messenger pigeon.
It's like, honestly, I mean, we found you. I know the magic exists. I don't know if you know it, but you could try to find somebody that does. Reaches into his pack, pulls out something, so takes a couple steps forward and holds it out. It's a metal ring, circular metal ring.
All right. And this
It
is?
just appears to be made of rough iron.
Sure. And this is?
That's mine.
Good enough.
So there's magic that exists that will allow you to use that to potentially find me.
Good enough.
Sure, somebody
like-
somewhere in the Summerlands has it.
Is it like a ring that you wear in your finger, or is it just
No, it is larger than that. And by rough, I mean it looks like it's actually naturally formed into this shape.
Hmm.
About the size of that coaster, yeah. But it's not a perfect circle. It's a
Roughly hewn.
circle-ish, but it's like a ring of iron, basically.
what
That's
is
what he
it?
hands over.
That'll do.
Because I found it when I was young. Been carrying it around since.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, well, if I have any other questions or anything, is there anything you wish to ask us?
Well,
You have a lovely encampment.
That's not a question, Tahani.
Just making a comment.
anything else of might be of useful insight within that there tome of yours?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, most of it doesn't make sense at all.
Does it have any more pictures of us in there?
Not that I'm aware of.
Have you read the entirety of it?
Well, that's the problem. Remembering what you've read in here is quite difficult.
I'm sorry, what?
It's a random assortment of it's almost jumbled garbage. Like, not in any particular order. I mean, it's quite a lot to try and grasp.
Is there any other mention of humans? Or interactions?
What do you mean, like us interacting with feet?
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots.
Mm.
Most of the time, when something terrible happens, it happens in relationship to some sort of feat.
Hmm.
But then, really good things also happen in relationship to feet. So,
All right. Well, I think it's probably fair for us to. Are we able to stay the night with y'all here in the camp before we head off in the morning?
certainly, you are most welcome to this campfire for the evening.
Might be
Thank you.
might be good just in case something else does happen over the course of the evening in your dreams. We can glean a little bit more insight before we move on with our investigation.
As well, tonight the moon will finally be enough to protect us from the dreams. It should not bother us this evening.
Very
Have
well.
you tried tracking down this person on your own?
No. Fortunately, we tend to not venture too far away from the rest of the clan.
The rest of the clan. Is there another group of nomads?
Oh, well, there's more of the Nomen. This is just he like gestures to the camp. It's just our clan. There are more clans.
Hmm. Interesting.
All right. How do y'all feel about this? I know that I know the Rasmus had his opinion. I know where Tahani feels about it. But y'all are the two who have been a little quiet.
I just like to help people, and I guess horse people too.
All right.
Even if they call us feet.
I mean, you have some pretty substantial feet, kid.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. Amorous, what do you say?
I'm down.
Well, I would have thought I would have had to pay you.
No.
Not this time.
I mean, you can pay me.
Curiouser and curiouser. All right. Good. Then it's settled.
I think she likes horses more than people.
I would not be surprised.
I like a lot of things more than people.
Yeah.
What's with the sudden change of heart?
I don't have a change of heart. I like these creatures, you know. Seems like a good deal. We had the same dream, we have like a bond. At least I'm not a pussy like some people. Clearly not talking about anyone in this party.
Now. No need to get nasty.
I'm not getting nasty.
All right. Well, I guess we can. I will ask for over the course of the evening, collect whatever stories we can collect out of the people, of some of the things they've seen and done, and just kind of trades in some of those, and enjoy the fire. And if there's no other business, eventually turn in for the night.
I mean, for the most part, the centaur appear to be typically quiet at night. It's not like a party or anything like that. They just kind of have, they talk amongst the campfires and stuff, and then as the sun falls, finally finishes, and then the moon is out. Especially this evening, apparently being the first evening where they're not going to be bothered by the nightmare.
They're all anxious to get to sleep.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. A few of them do stay awake and appear to take watch, kind of go out and circle around, patrol a little bit, but
All right.
otherwise they go to sleep.
Okay.
Does it appear that the young go with parents, or do they just kind of plop in the middle?
So interesting enough, you do see that they do sleep with another group of centaur, but it's odd. You don't get that there's kind of that like parent taking, or that they have necessarily what is considered a parent, like the rest of humanoid culture kind of does.
Mm-hmm. What about when?
I mean, you have noticed that Windrus looks like Simalti. Like they look very, very, very close. To the point where you're pretty sure that Windrus is indeed Simalti's daughter.
That's why they call her first daughter. Are there any other similarities between Norik and Pilam, between perhaps some of the other elders?
No.
All right.
Not that you notice. Nothing that looks similar. Other than, I mean, they have black coats of fur. Like the coat on their horse body, I guess, is black, which is the same as like Tislet, but it's not the same color black. It's slightly different. They are much larger in stature than he is. You guys are actually kind of confused when it comes to their titles that they have, like the first daughter, first son, second son thing. You're not really sure what it means.
I mean, we could ask.
They're the structure of their clan, like how their clan structure, it definitely seems to be different from what the normal humanoid culture appears to be. Where it's just like like individual families raising their children and stuff like that.
Do they sleep standing up?
No, they lay down like horses lay down to sleep.
That's such a good question.
I mean,
That
The person's supposed to sleep.
would have caused some terrible, terrible chaos.
are they sleeping? They're just standing there.
Just standing there.
No, they lay down. They do lay on the ground and sleep.
Ooh, wow. All right. All right. Well, I'm gonna go to bed.
Yep. Can we go to bed?
Everybody sleep?
I will.
Yep.
Is anybody staying awake? No.
Nope.
Okay,
No.
good. Everybody's sleeping. Okay.
Yeah.
Not unless there's more boar.
I mean, there is more boar. Not all of it was cut off of the body. There's more boar. It's just kind of just sitting over the roasting pit, over the fire, although it's been moved off to the side so that it's not continuously cooking. There is more boar. It's just.
I'm not going to turn down extras.
Yeah,
I might stay up a little bit longer.
Mhm.
Okay, so you all fall asleep to the sounds of Willick just. Yep.
We're getting used to the sound.
It's kind of soothing.
ASMR.
So
We call that the stomach lullaby.
all right. So morning comes and you guys kind of wake up one by one. Over the course of half an hour or so, you guys wake up. You wake up. You notice that most of the centaur are already awake, up and moving about.
I'm gonna do my morning ritual.
Okay.
And then go and find Windress.
Okay. You find her at the sort of campfire next to where you guys were. She is with the other two that you know.
The ones that approached us initially.
Yeah, so Norik and Palam. She's with them.
Good morning.
Looks over. Hello?
I hope you don't mind me asking, but I wanted to inquire, are you Somali's daughter?
Her eyes kind of go wide when you say the daughter like that, or when you're like Somalti's like ownership kind of. Her eyes go wide at that. She looks over and then she realizes that it's just the two that don't speak common. She just kind of looks around at the others that are not exactly close, but she's like, walk with me back to your camp.
Okay.
Walks you back. She's like, it is my understanding that for the most part in your society, you are raised by the parents who give you.
Yes.
Here we are not raised by those that birth us, but by the clan itself.
Oh. That's interesting. That's exciting.
Do you have any other questions about us that others might find offensive?
I did not mean
or
to.
prying, or she kind of like corrects herself, like maybe not offensive, but prying.
I did not mean to.
She just like kind of looks at you. She's very like understanding. It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, feet do not interact with us that much. I can't expect them to understand how we live.
So, Windress, how'd y'all decide which direction y'all head in?
It's like that's up to the elders. But generally we have a sort of pattern that we follow.
I was just curious. Did you happen to hear if Samalti had finished that likeness of that that individual?
She looks around. She starts looking around the camp. She's like, she hasn't returned yet.
Oh.
Returned from where?
She went to go commune last night to create what you want. She just hasn't returned yet.
All right.
Is that unusual?
No,
No. Okay.
she should be here by mid-morning. I mean, she should not be much longer.
All right. We will need to be on our way back. We are due at the end of day back where we started.
So she nods. She's like, okay. Well, if you are hungry, we can, find you something to eat. We had inquired the other day as to potentially hitting some horses.
Yes.
Some real horses.
Some real horses. Yes, indeed. What traditionally do you ask for in terms of trade for these couple horses?
Well, usually we ask for that which we use to live. She motions to the boars, and she's like, those are not typically common in these areas.
Understood.
One of our recent trades.
So what do y'all need? Aside from our help, that is.
Very subtle.
She looks and she's just like, food.
Do we have any food on us?
Clothing. She's thinking. You have a substance called oil that is typically useful for us.
I do have a small flask of oil. It's not much, but it'll run a few candles and torches for sure.
I have 2 pounds of dried meat.
Weapons. Don't unfortunately have the ability to craft our own. Or if you have the ability to take those of our weapons that are broken and fix them rather quickly.
Do we still have the hides from the cats that we...
Technically, we have not had a chance to sell anything.
Yep. So you guys actually have some stuff.
So I do happen to have...
I can do a little blacksmithing.
Really?
Well, that's what my father was. Before he died.
Well, we do indeed actually have 4 short swords. And we do have a series of 8 leather armors. Which, granted, none of them might fit y'all one at a time, but I'm sure if you were to pull them apart and put them back together, as I think some of y'all might be a little bit apt to do, working with hide and such, we might be able to come to an accord for some horses.
I have the mending cantrip, so I could probably fix some small things. Throughout the morning if they have stuff in a spot.
Just like, this sounds more and more like you would be leaving our encampment with a real horse.
What will happen to the not real horse?
It's yours.
Oh.
Whatever you want to do with it.
One horse?
Yes.
All right. Will that one horse do the job of the 2 horses which brought our cart over?
One of our horses should be able to pull your cart. 2. Also much better trained.
Ah, I see.
Because, well, while we wait for some Malty, would you like to see some of the training?
Yes, please.
Okay. So she'll lead you guys over to the trading area. You'd see the training has just now begun for the morning too. So they have some of the horses out. The other thing you know is that the horses that they have are much larger than you guys have. They are big. They appear to be much stronger. They also appear to be, well, some of them at least, much wilder and ferocious than the horses you have. As you guys have more like domesticated, kind of bred for farm type horses, right? So you guys watch as she leads you over to the runs where you see like a centaur is running with a horse back, and you notice as they hit like certain points on the thing along the run, the centaur is saying something to the horse at each interval. doing so increases his own speed at each point. So he runs a little bit, then runs a little bit faster, then runs a little bit faster than that, and then like full tilt run at the end. And at the end of the full tilt run, they're actually sort of running into this area where they turn around and then come back this way. Turn around and come back this way. And that's what they just keep doing that over and over and over again. With the horse. And what you guys notice is that the horses kind of naturally just match the centaur as they're going. Like they match the centaur's kind of speed and step and all like that as they're going around.
It's the alpha.
Wondrous looks at you and she just goes, we've been training horses for I don't even know a time when we weren't, even before me. It's just like horses just kind of naturally follow us, so we just use that to our advantage while training. Since you might actually be buying a horse, all of our horses trained for verbal command.
All right.
She motions and she kind of as he's running along and the centaur that's training says something, she just goes like this. And she does it again when he says something, and then again. And you notice that each time he's saying something, the horse is actually increasing its speed. And then she motions over to the side of one of the railings where there's some stuff laying on the ground. There's some more of those like weird large skids. However, on top of these, they look like almost like scarecrows, but without like the poles attached to them. But there's also some saddles and bridles and stuff like that there. She's like, once they get to where they understand the commands, we saddle them and put the dummy feet on them.
The dummy feet?
The dummy feet. She motions to the
The
scarecrow-like things that are laying on the ground.
They train them to be ridden.
Gotcha.
So, after watching a little bit more here, she takes you over to where the pole is with them. She says, "This is where we teach them how to turn, stop, kneel, get down, stand up, everything." You also notice that, like, all their training and stuff, the centaurs will yell at them and brandish weapons. The horses.
Tough love.
Well, she tells you most of their horses are bought by the Summerland military, for the most part.
They're training war horses. Yeah.
Yeah. They're trained so that if you go into a fight, your horse will not run away.
So they're not using the horses, the weapons on the horses. They're just
No. It's just to make it so that the horse is used
Desensitizing
to.
them.
Yeah. So that if somebody with a weapon comes at them, they don't just bolt immediately.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I want me one of those.
She goes, "Well, let's go talk to Drolin and see if we can work that out." He is, I guess you would call him horse master. We don't really have a word for it.
Mm-hmm.
He's just kind of the elder who's been training horses probably as long as he's been alive. So she takes you guys down back over towards the gate of the sort of pen area, where you guys find Drolin is talking with a couple other centaur. You know, as you approach, they all stop, and he motions them off, and they go back into the pen with the other horses. So, he didn't really talk much last night at all. So he comes over and he's kind of has his arms crossed up against his large chest, and he's looking down at you. He's like, "What do you want?"
I'd like to make a deal for one of them horses.
Trade. Do you have
Well, I understand that y'all are lacking for weapons and armor, since y'all can't craft your own.
Alright, so you have, what, 4 short swords?
If you'd like the total rundown, I can give it to you. It's 4 short swords, 2 regular leather armor, and then we have 6 small leather armors, along with 1 short spear, 1 longbow, 2 dog slices, and a crossbow. The challenge is that the short spear, longbow, dog slices, and crossbow are almost not worth a shit, given the fact that they're all crudely made. The rest of it all is in pretty good shape.
Okay, so those... let's see, Raspin said he could use the mending spell to fix some minor things.
I do have a small flask of oil.
Flask of oil, you guys have 2 pounds of dried meat.
Yep.
And Willick said he could do some crafting. So, given that you guys have some crudely made weapons, like, yes, they're crudely made, however, they at least give you a base.
Mm-hmm.
Not the spear and the crossbow, you can't do too much. Kind of really, really bad. You can't really do much with them. The dog slicers, however, are, like, really badly just kind of pieces of metal that they just banged up really to make them sharp. Although Willick is pretty sure that with, probably like 8 hours worth of time, his hammer, and a nice, like, sturdy stump or something someplace, he can probably get them banged into a more sword-like, not really sword-like, more like a cleaver-ish shape and function.
I can make them pointy and sharp, but just not a sword.
Do we have 8 hours before we can still make it back safely?
I mean, we're not leaving until that elder returns, right?
Crap.
You guys woke up in the morning. If you wait 8 hours, it's only a 4 hour. You would get back. You would have an hour or 2 in the dark, probably, on the way back. But that's it.
What's your thought, Rowan?
It's a lot of time I'm not sure we have.
We could always see if what we have thus far would make do.
Yeah. All right.
Are there any services that I could provide that would be helpful?
Do you have any crafting professions? Or do you have any craft skills or professions, I guess?
No.
Nope.
I am useless.
We can see if our friend is feeling lucky.
Oh. I mean, do you mention any sort of wagering with him?
I will mention it to Rowan first. I don't want to volunteer. I don't want to volunteer other people's stuff, and my 2 pounds of meat is probably not worth betting for a horse.
A war horse.
A war horse. That is going to be a magnificent war horse, is the problem. And truth be told, I doubt we'd find one finer. The other option is we could see about trading those 2 horses for 1 and see if they might be interested in that. I'll volunteer that option. We'll give you 2 horses that you can raise and train for one of the ones that you got.
He looks at you, and it's like, you can see him turn and look over towards where your cart is, and then turns back to you, and it's just like, no.
Those poor horses.
Noted. You know what? Have at it. It's fine. Who knows? We need to do something to break this gruff exterior. Go ahead.
Oh, jelly bean and lollipop.
What?
She named them.
They're not going
Did you make
anywhere.
up those words?
Raspin, go ahead. See if he's a gambling man.
All right. Uh, well, sir, you've taken a look at what we've got. And it sounds like it's not quite enough to trade for one of your fine horses. Uh, would you be interested in making things a little bit more interesting, I guess?
I mean, what else do you have to put up? I don't want to know your stuff anyway.
You don't want any of our stuff.
I mean, I would take some of it. It's just not enough to pay for a horse.
Rude.
But it's also not enough to wager against a horse.
Oh.
I mean, we're supposed to come back here at some point, right? We could pick up a horse then.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, we have gold, but you don't have any need of that, I guess. Are you y'all don't happen to be on your way to meet with any other the military or what?
Not soon.
All right.
It's like this group here is gonna take another month to get prepared for them. I only have 2 that are ready to be sold.
Gotcha. All right. Well, maybe we will have to pick one up the next time we come down.
Okay. No problem.
And then Jelly Bean and Lollipop will have more friends.
Sure. All right. So I suppose that, I don't mind helping out if there's anything we can do, picking up, cleaning up, tearing down, whatever it is that's going on in the camp until the...
Luckily, you guys have spent enough time kind of watching the training and then talking with Roland and trying to haggle and trying to figure out a wager, and it just not happening. Being like,
All right.
okay, we're done. That shortly after you go back to your cart and stuff, Symmetry arrives.
Thank you.
Yep. So she arrives and she kind of rides into camp. Make a perception roll. Everybody.
Woo.
Is that yours or mine?
It's
yours.
mine.
Woo.
Dang. Right. So. Let's see. Well, everybody notices that when she comes back, like, you guys saw her leave, but when she comes back, she is extremely disheveled. Her hair is everywhere, every direction that you could possibly imagine, almost like she was in a windstorm. There's grass and leaves and stuff in it. Her eyes look a little bit wild. She's got
Do
some
we know
dirt, mud, and stuff on her.
Do we know what Windress meant by commuting?
She does not have any wounds. You don't see any like slashes, marks, anything like, and nothing like that. Nothing bad. It's just she looks.
Rough.
She had a night. That's what it looks like. She had a night.
Looks like me in the morning.
So.
Y'all all right,
She
Miss
comes back in
Simalti?
camp. She comes back in camp. So she comes kind of from the direction that you guys came from. So you guys are some of the first ones to kind of see her and potentially interact with her. So when you contact her, she just kind of goes, looks over at you. I'm okay, I think.
You think?
Windress said you were out communing.
Yes. Trying to have Mother Moon and other spirits help me remember detail so I can transfer that to the page.
Was she receptive?
It's not what I expected.
How so?
So she's carrying something with her, so that's what the first thing. So then she kind of has like this something wrapped in leather. So she begins unwrapping it, and then you see that there's like a wooden board, and then on the wooden board appears to be stacks of paper that she has, and then she has like a sort of leather bound, sort of almost like little mini case that you figure probably has like drawing implements in it. And on it she has multiple sheets with her.
Mhm.
She's just like she's like should find Tissalip.
Find what?
Tissalip, the
I'll
other elder,
I'll go find him.
one who had the book.
I'll go find him.
You guys see that, of course, Windress is near you guys, so she comes over immediately. Like, just sort of holding Samalti, kind of.
All right, I'll go get
Looks
this.
a tad worried. Yeah. So you find Tissalip kind of at the furthest campfire from
Samalti's
appears
back.
to be, yeah, he has the book out. He's actually reading through it.
Excuse me, Thistlip. Samalti's back. She's asking for you. She don't look so good.
Okay. So he gets up, puts the book away, and comes with you. Back. He's like, so, Samalti, what did the game go? Have an image for them. She's just like, I have two. She hands the first one out. She hands it over. And the first one is similar to what they described last night, where it's like, tall, sort of lithe human, paler skin, has a short kind of black beard, neatly trimmed, short cropped black hair. Eye color you can't really tell. It looks like it's gray, but you're not sure if it's because everything is in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
She just didn't use color. But the eye color is gray. And then like his clothes, he has like a long black coat underneath which you can tell that on the drawing appears to be like blackened leather armor, black pants, black boots. And then he has the sword, which is interesting because you can tell that it's supposed to look like it's in a scabbard, but you can see through the scabbard, and then you can see where it's like the black sword with the white stars and stuff on it.
Interesting. Okay. So it's good enough to produce a likeness if we needed to kind of.
Yeah, if you could definitely tell that you could take this to somebody and somebody could identify it as a singular person. Not
perfect.
Just, this looks kind of what he looks like. It is definitely a picture of a person.
We can work with this. That's great. You said you had two.
Yeah, so she goes, yes. And she pulls it out, and then she looks, and she's like, So she sits it back down. She pulls out what appears like a dagger, and she starts sort of slowly cutting on the paper. She's cutting off like pieces of the paper. And then she's like, I think this will make it work better. So then she takes it, she lays it kind of, it goes up and around him sort of, and then there's pieces that kind of cover pieces of him.
Oh.
And that's where you see where his face gets covered by this. It looks like pure shadow with like white eyes. And then around him is kind of this veil of shadow that after you take a moment, you realize is actually just a pair of large black wings that are kind of enveloping him from behind.
Oh.
And that he had on the picture originally, he had like just his hand on the hilt of the sword. There's a hand there, but it's black shadow, and it's much larger than what his hand was before. Kind of maybe not entirely corporal either, because it's kind of like the lines are kind of jagged. But otherwise he looks pretty much the same.
Wow.
Just like,
That's
I don't know what it means. This is what I drew.
Do I know by chance if there might be any sort of creature that might fit that sort of visual
you can make a
description?
knowledge. You already rolled knowledge.
What would you prefer?
No, it's definitely knowledge planes.
But unfortunately, I don't know shit.
It's definitely something extra planar.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks extra. The first image looks just like a human. Just a human, just kind of pale. And the second image looks extra planar.
Interesting. This strike a chord for anyone else? Emrys?
Looks weird.
Sure does. All right. Thank you, Samalti, for this. We appreciate whatever it is that you had to go through last night.
You're welcome.
Roll it all up. Tuck it in. We have everything we need?
I guess so. Yes. Everything you need?
Are you gonna be alright, Smalley?
I just need some food and water, and I think I'll be okay. Is it, like I said, you can tell that she's not she doesn't seem wounded or hurt or anything like that.
Mhm.
Not even like mental scars or anything like that. She's just
Okay.
Exhausted.
exhausted and has been a crazy
Okay.
night, is what it seems like.
All right. All right. Well, I guess we saddle up and head on back to the tower, yeah?
Sounds like.
All right. Off to the races we go, good storyteller.
So you guys bid your farewells.
May the Mother Moon protect you and your kin.
Yep.
I promise.
So
in her name I'll look at-
Windress, since Windress is the one kind of seeing you off,
Mhm.
her and Tissalip. Windress responds, "May her light ever guide you."
And you?
You guys head back to the tower.
Dun, 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 dun.
So we only have to roll. So who's driving the cart for the last couple of hours that it's going to be nighttime?
Whoever has sight in the dark.
I'll drive it.
Yeah, you will.
Okay. So Emrys is driving. Emrys,
Yeah.
a perception roll for me.
Did it do it?
You see?
Oh, I don't see
nothing.
anything.
You're just watching the horses, looking around at the night sky, kind of like going over the mental picture of the picture that you saw in your head.
So you know that any lions that attack are on you this time? Mm-hmm.
I got it. I got that.
All right.
Literally, they're going to be coming for you.
Luckily, though, a few short hours later, you arrive at the tower. Although you almost go past the tower, because then Emrys is just like turns the cart, like obviously off in her own little world.
All right.
Turns it on a dime. Raspin tumbles out of the wagon.
You okay?
Lucky
That's
little
why
bugger
you-
rolls right up to the door, stands up, opens it.
Told you we should have gotten him a safety seat.
Get some phone books for you to sit on.
Oh, goodness.
I think it's just like some sort of harness to strap him in.
All right. Well, they no doubt saw us coming, so we just kind of approached the door.
Oh yeah. Doors open with Drax standing outside.
Draxus. Uh-oh. We're late.
Hey!
Kind of nods at you.
We'll head in.
Okay. So you guys go in. You guys go up the stairs, and you guys go up, and you find Eldris up there with Vandrin kind of waiting.
I thought we were only going to be an hour late if we forged the sickles.
Oh yeah. No, you guys are. Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, you guys did not arrive during the night. Sorry.
All right.
You guys
Okay.
arrived during the day. Yeah, I forgot. That was like you guys.
Let's
8
go
hours.
back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not nighttime when you arrive.
Right.
Even so, Draxus is still waiting at the door.
Fair enough.
Oh.
Oh.
That means we're not late. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Vandrin said we could have until end of daylight. We're fine.
So you guys go upstairs. Vandrin is there. Eldris, whatever.
Ellis.
The mage. Ellis, the
Ellis.
mage. Yeah. Ellis, the mage, is there, and
Polton,
you know.
Phila, and Ilan.
Fulton is. Well, Phil and Alana are not. You don't see them anymore.
Oh.
You get to the middle floor.
All right.
And Polton is currently apparently on watch.
I'll watch. All right. All right.
So you
Draxus, Ellis, Vandrin. We're back.
How
Time
about
to
it?
spare. What happened?
So he looks over at Ellis and Draxus. Looks back at you, and he's like, well, they found what appears to be a goblin warren and destroyed it.
And the girl?
No sight of her.
Hmm.
No trace. Couldn't find her.
No remains either.
Nothing. Phil and Alon had to return to continue with state business.
Understand.
They wanted us to let you know what happened. However, there was another possible lead that looks over at Draxus. Draxus here found traveling through the mountains. They just, I guess, didn't feel it necessary to pursue.
What was it?
State calls. Draxus is just like, found another path.
Hmm.
It's like, Vander's like, now, Draxus, I know you think that's where they went, but Alon and Philip both said it looked like nothing had been down that way in a very long time. But yes, Draxus found another pathway. However, yeah, it doesn't look like anybody had been traveling it, so just disregarded it.
Draxus, if you don't mind my asking, what was it that told you that was where they had headed?
He just kind of like inhales a couple times. He was just like, just smelled different. Smelled dirty, unclean, not old and dusty or like the wild that you would expect a pathway to smell like.
Hmm.
That hadn't been traveled in a while.
Well, if there's two words I would use to describe goblins.
Draxus looks at you, Just like,
Tiny and mean.
Vandrin's like, yeah. So there's that possibility, I guess. What happened with the Nomen?
Oh, so you heard.
Well,
He knew that you guys.
they were
Vandrin knew
going.
that you guys were leaving. Vandrin, Ellen, and Draxus that were not present.
Yeah, Vandrin gave us his blessing. Well, and it actually went fairly well indeed. As it turns out, they're looking for somebody, or at least I'm looking for somebody. And I'll pull out just the
whatever you have.
the first sheet of drawing, without the second layer.
Got it.
And I'll lay it out on the table. And I'll just say, have any of y'all seen this man before?
Nope.
All right. Apparently, this individual was last seen traveling south, past this way, maybe further.
About a month ago, right?
Yeah,
6 months
6
ago?
months. 6 months.
about 6 months ago. So he could be anywhere. That's neither hide nor hair, but if you can take a scribe or commit this to memory or however it is, maybe Ellis, you want to duplicate it or something, that'd be great. But if you all happen to see this individual, would suggest that if you could reach out to us, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. I'd be much obliged.
So Ellis is kind of like looking at the paper, looks and he points to the sword and he points to the sword and he's just like, I don't know why. I feel like I've seen that sword before. Not like in a book. Something.
In a book?
All I know is that sword is not from here. None of those stars line up to anything that's in the night sky. Don't matter what time of year we're talking.
So Ellis takes a closer look at it and goes, you're right. The sword's not from that sky, is not of Galarian.
No.
They are meant to be stars, right?
As I understand it.
Any chance you know where they are from?
No. Not my area of study during school.
Well, if you come up with anything.
You might want to talk to, I mean, if you're willing to make the trek over there, you might want to talk to Aurelian.
Tim? Amherst's favorite person, Tim. He might know something.
Timmy!
He,
I mean, he is an elf. He's probably been around longer, yeah?
Before he decided to join the Summer Guard, my understanding is that the outer planes are his sort of focus of study for a period of time.
Then mayhap we might do that. Which direction did you say that path was headed?
So Draxus will go, because they still have all the maps and stuff out. Like, they've just left them out since you guys have been around, like, doing things. Okay. I brought you guys over, right? Yep, okay, good. Alright. So, Draxus tells you that they follow the tracks down, hit this way, right? And they continued following the tracks this way. There is a pathway pier that goes this way. Like just after you, not like a day's travel inwards in the mountains, there's a path that goes back west.
Hmm.
And that's where he's like, that's where apparently he thinks that it had been used recently, where Alon and Phila were like, there's no tracks, there's no traces of anybody moving down here, still like dust and settlement and stuff. That's where he thinks that is. So there's a path, if you guys want to go down and search and look around, you can go there. There is going up to the North Tower, talking to Marillion. You guys know that the Nomen were out, the tribe of Nomen, the clan of Nomen. You guys know that that clan operates basically along this line, essentially. And so they said that the figure was headed south, so you guys can go this way.
Well, what do y'all think?
Or there's going Barnhold.
Back to New Barnhold. So, I guess with this being done, I suppose our official business is now concluded. It sounds like there's no outstanding duties or requests. Am I to understand that right?
I haven't got. I mean, Phila and Alon, they left really quick. I don't know what's going on.
All right.
Back in summer home, so they left rather quickly. They didn't leave anything for me to tell you or anything like that. They just said that Draxus and Ellis could tell you guys what happened in the mountains.
All right. Well, then it sounds like we have some choices to make. I guess the options as they stand in front of us is we could rest up and then try to find our way south, explore that path, but that's going to take us a couple days travel. Determine what happened, if anything. Failing that, we could go back to the North Tower. We could talk to Timarillion and see if he knows anything about this picture, and then make a more educated decision about what we want to do next. Whether we decided we're going to just pack it in and abandon, or whether we're going to go and wherever we're going to head next after that. We'll have more information. We can make some decisions. A bit more informed. But I don't know. I'm easy. It's this gentleman, if that's what it is obviously quite ahead of us. So I don't have any illusions about trying to go through that south path and bumping into him. It's not like we're hot on his heels or anything. So really it comes down to, do we want to try to chase the phantom of this girl potentially down through the south path of the mountains? Or do we want to start working our way back to New Varnhold and stop at Tim along the way and maybe pick up a good night's rest?
Well, Tim's just at the next tower, right?
Yeah.
It's in the opposite direction, though.
Yeah. It'd
So
be
it's not like
north.
you can do one on the way to the other.
I mean, eventually I'd think moving south would be good. Whether we stop at Tim's first.
Again, the wrong direction.
The wrong direction, yep.
Yeah.
What does the rest of the group think?
Well, if we go south and we try and find this girl, which I doubt she's even alive, we still don't know if there's a bunch of stuff waiting for us there. We're still not equipped enough to even make a dent. And we don't know if there's anything more dangerous that's handling those goblins. So I say we just go talk to Tim, kind of figure out what's going on, and then maybe we can make a final decision. But I really doubt that girl. Sorry to say, but I really.
Well, if she's in danger, we probably need to go after her.
But I'm saying that she's knowing goblins. She's probably not alive. I mean, we saw that
Draxus,
whole plantation.
Draxus, question.
Yes.
You guys raised that entire warren?
Alon and Phila does not exist anymore.
No survivors?
How many were there total?
Goblins in a warren? Couple score. That's just the ones you can see. The ones that, are still trapped inside someplace.
So you're saying they collapsed the warren, they didn't necessarily...
Looks over at Vandred and looks back at you guys. And it's just like, the warren burned first.
All right. All right. I trust they went inside, or did they just burn it from the outside and then collapse it?
Oh no,
If there's another entrance,
we went in.
You went in. Okay.
We went in.
There's absolutely no way that there's an entrance from the back end.
Nope.
All right. I feel a lot better about that.
Yep. Again, she was not there.
Well, it seems like the only time-sensitive item that we're chasing here is potentially this girl.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going anywhere until the morning, right? Like, we're gonna stay here tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seems like
That makes sense.
as good a plan as any.
Yep.
Well, I suggest then maybe we all sleep on it. And we'll make a decision about it in the morning after we've all had some time to think. We'll be prepared to go either way. We'll make a decision. I'm not convinced that she's alive either, but at the same time, I don't think I'm prepared to just 100% abandon the hope that she is. I think the reason we turned around is because we knew we were up against odds that we could not be a match for.
Okay.
That variable has been taken out of the measure. Now it's simply the unknown.
Draxus did. I guess I don't know if I conveyed it, but the path that he found was a smaller path. Like a large group of goblins or whatever could not be
No way
traveling
it
on
could've
said
traveled.
path. Like the path, like your group traveling the path is going to be like you guys would have to walk the path single, maybe double file.
Oh.
At times you would have to go single file.
All right.
It's small. It's not big.
What is it that lay over the mountains there?
That lay over where? Over here?
Yeah.
This?
Yeah.
That is the ruins of Old Varnhold.
Oh. Huh. All right.
When were they destroyed?
You would know when they were destroyed.
Old Varnhold, was destroyed like 70 years ago.
How did it die?
You guys saw it in a dream.
Oh.
I just was making sure that was
right.
like
It was the barbarians and
Yep.
the fire demon thing.
it was like a truthful thing that
well,
happened.
Yeah. So okay. So the history that that you were taught and have read in books and stuff is that a barbarian horde from Casmeron, the continent that's just on the other side of the mountains that you guys can't see because it's off the map, came across the mountains and attacked and kind of slowly or very quickly eliminated kind of the outlying sort of like small towns and farmsteads and stuff that were kind of at the time dotted like the Noman Highlands here. Made their way across the mountains and destroyed Varnhold, like razed it to the ground. Is what you know. They were then routed by the Summerlands military, and the Summerlands military fought a short, fierce campaign against them where they pushed them back. Casper.
All right.
That is what you were told. That's what you've always read. That's what everything that you know is written. You know, I know Emrys told you guys that she had a dream where she went and she was in, you know, a city, and then you guys then got to see the same city where the barbarians are attacking and doing things, and then there's also these weird fire monsters.
It was old Varnhold. Got it.
Yep. And then you guys know that when you were in the dream, when you guys started the dream, you were here, you guys ran this way, and then you guys...
Yep.
But then we saw the
and then
inn.
and then you came across the city. Yeah, you guys also saw the inn, the Smoky Mountain.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Which Emrys knows from staying there that it was rebuilt in New Varnhold to look very similar, as close as possible to the inn in the old one.
So as to honor the inn from the old days. Well,
So that's this like 13?
13,
Can't
yeah.
quite read that. All right.
Yeah, I have to redo the map a bit.
Do
Yeah,
do
it's
people still live there?
No.
All right.
It was left because it was raised to the ground to the point where, you know, it's this is all information that Tahani knows. That it was raised to the ground where the point where like being able to like grow anything nearby, even remotely close, even though it's kind of in the mountains, so it couldn't really grow much around it anyway. It's essentially impossible. And that the destruction and stuff that was created and the havoc and the smoke and all like that, a lot of the fish and stuff that was in the Gilded Lake all died as a result.
wow.
So fishing in the Gilded Lake is actually almost impossible also. So like how to survive out here would, at this, if they rebuilt the city here, would have been to depend on basically stuff traveling to it.
And what's 14?
14 is Dawn's Rise.
Okay.
Dawn's Rise is actually, you would know, is the second largest city in the Summerlands. It is extremely well protected. It's common, well, I mean, it's in the books that after the barbarian invasion and the destruction of the city of Old Varnhold, that Dawn's Rise, the rulers at the time came and erected a wall in a single day around.
Wow.
Like a very large 20-foot wall that was 10 feet thick.
Those rulers must have been some powerful creatures. All
It's
right.
a big wall.
That's a big wall.
They erected a wall in a day because that's what they assumed was the next target.
Well, if that is indeed Old Varnhold, I'm going to cast my vote to south and across the mountains. Because worst case is we're going to end up there and there's just too much coincidence lining up for us not to follow it.
And that's where the path leads.
That is where the path leads.
The road does lead to Old Varnhold still. There is, and not Tahani would know this, but the current maps that they show, there is a section of road, I should have brought it on here, it goes around. So you don't actually have to go directly through if you don't want to. You still can. That old roadway still exists.
But there's a new one that goes
There's
around.
there's a new one that goes around.
Now you said the path is here?
The down a little bit further going this way. Yeah, it goes this way.
This way.
Yep.
Might take us around the Gilded Lake. But, I mean, look. We can follow the hunch to try to find the girl. We find her, great. If we don't, maybe we find some more clues. Who knows? who knows what we'll find. I, for one, I would actually like to see Old Vonhold in person myself. Just because I think it'd be really cool. And then afterwards, if we want to head to the big city there and then decide what our future holds from that point together, then that sounds as good of a plan as any to me. Ellis, is there any way that you might be able to send Tim some sort of inkling of our photo here, or maybe some sort of description, and see if it strikes a bell?
I mean, I could send him a message with like a description of the picture that you showed this picture, and see if he knows anything.
If you wouldn't mind, I'd be much obliged. I'd really like to take an opportunity to go up there to ask him a bunch of questions, but I think maybe the timing on that isn't necessarily as important. If we can even plant a seed, I think it might be important. Might be well served.
Even if you could just ask if he knows of a sword that looks like that.
Alright.
Yeah. Maybe he's come across it in his studies or whatnot. That would be mighty helpful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ellis said that he thinks he remembers seeing the sword in a book someplace.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, he's like, yeah, I can do that. So he goes off to do that, basically.
All right. I don't suppose, Draxus, when you are standing and going through the viewing glass, can y'all see each other across the towers?
They can see just up. You can't see directly on top of the other tower.
Oh.
You can see very, very close to the other tower.
All right. I just thought
You're gonna hold up the picture?
I mean, yes.
Like using the viewing glass, you could see the tower in the distance, but it's not magnified to the extent where somebody could like see directly on the tower perfectly,
So
like you can when you look.
We'd
around.
have to do like a day of travel if you wanted to hold up a picture and give them a chance to see it.
Yeah, that's not. It may not be worth it. We'll see what happens in the morning. But I for one, I think that's a pretty good plan of attack. How do y'all feel about that?
I agree.
Thank you, Tahani.
Indubitably.
Thank you, Willick. Oh, sigh.
I really hate rescue missions.
Think of it as a bit more of an excavation. We get to go see the ruins of Old Vonhold.
I don't think he's not talking about going to the past, right? You're talking about going straight to Old Varnhold?
No, I'm talking about going through the past to get to Old Vonhold.
Oh, okay. You don't know for sure that the past goes there. You just know that the past just here and goes west, and that's it.
That's
you don't know
fair.
maybe it just goes across the mountain and that's it, or
Maybe.
what?
Yep.
No idea. You don't know.
What about you?
I mean, I'm a little bit curious about Old Varnhold, but I mostly want to get to Dawn's Rise because it sounds like I might be able to find my next big game there.
That's
So
what
if
I
your
was
way-
thinking.
So if your way takes you to Dawn's Rise, then I guess we won't have to part ways until at least then, and if we come across something compelling along the way, then maybe that's its own adventure.
Yeah, see? Adventure. We're going on adventures.
I mean, I'm mostly interested in my next big game. I have to follow in the footsteps of Nitty Rambadazzle.
I think that Dawn's Rise is an excellent end of the road destination here for us on this next leg of the journey. I myself would like to see it too. Be something. There's nothing quite like sleeping in a really nice, comfortable bed and drinking delicious beer that is just sounding so good right now.
And think of the trouble we could get into.
So much trouble.
You guys always want to get into.
We would be so lucky. So lucky. All right.
So, I mean, it is later in the evening. You guys, I assume, are getting ready to go to sleep.
Mhm.
Ellis does send the message to Tim
Mm-hmm.
back, and just like Tim is pretty sure that book that I told him I remembered seeing it in a book. He remembers also seeing it in a book, but he remembers that it's at it's at Summer Home.
So you remember
It's
the
in-
title of the book?
No,
All right.
just that it's at where they trained us for the summer guard
Gotcha.
in
All
the
right.
library.
All right.
And where is that on the map?
Summer Home is all the way at 15. It's
Yeah.
by the Shimmerlock.
Yep.
It's where you're from.
Oh, okay.
It's over here. This one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, vaguely in this direction.
Yep.
Correct.
So still kind of along this line, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is a piece we will pick up later. As I said, we are well far behind whatever this individual's destination or journey has taken him, so I'm not having any illusions about
All right. So you
jumping
guys
on top
kind
of
of know at least that you're headed south in some manner.
him.
As for actually where you're just distinctively headed, something you can decide in the morning.
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
So
we'll all venture off and go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, you guys get to eat stuff first.
yeah. Before
for the journey
I pack it in, I'll just I hope I'm on the right path. Just keep my feet moving in the right direction, and I'll keep walking. And then
Okay.
I'll go to sleep.
And anybody else do anything before bed? No?
No.
Nope. Okay. That's where we're going to end for tonight, and that's where we'll pick up next time.
Yay!
Excellent. We still have all of this shit to sell, and we met a bunch of new people.
Still got to decide if I'm going to wear armor.
Yeah, right?
You need somebody to tell you to wear fucking armor.
Pretty much.
I have a terrible, long-placed, ridiculously ultimate Holy Crusade that I've been put on. This is not okay. That guy is going to eat my fucking lunch and toss my salad. It's going to be terrible. Oh my god. Maybe he's what she is. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that's what Emrys is going to look like after a while. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning into the stream. Make sure you check us out on YouTube as well. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And if you guys have any questions, hit us up in the comments. You can all hit us up on Twitter. Our Twitters are here. So you can jam us there. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.